Aerodrome finance price update, critical moment most people are not prepared for. My name is mikemadz. Let's start this video. Before we start the video, as always, Aero community, make some noise, like, comment, subscribe. Every like matters, every comment matters. The more people engage, the better the video is gonna do, the more people are gonna hear about Aerodrome, the better it's gonna be for us. And it is especially important here in those bearish times that we're currently in, where uncertainty is very, very high. Let's start. All right, let's stop wasting time. Let's jump straight into it here, especially during these last days and weeks. A lot of people left the ship. A lot of people sold their position, left crypto, got burned out, and just simply left the space. This is why it's super important to cover where Aerodrome is currently at. And one important thing here, what I'm currently personally doing here, which is not clickbait, guys. I made a huge move and I will explain why. Of course, we're going to cover the good here for Aerodrome, metrics, taking a look at where Aerodrome is heading here in the short and long term. The bad, some things that are not looking too crispy here for the short-term price action, the current price action of the Aero token, and again, what I'm personally currently doing with my crypto positions. Let's start. All right, take a look at the good first. Let's start off with the positive stuff first. Of course, we're going to cover the holders here of Aerodrome. Again, this is not the most accurate representation, as holders can be just simply base accounts or base wallets. So one wallet is not equally to one holder, but either way, it is interesting to take a look at the trend here. And for Aerodrome, comparing it to other altcoins, actually surprisingly here, breached this 160,000 holder threshold mark here. And as you can see here, the last 7 days, we had an increase of around 3,500 holders. In the short term, this is actually looking promising. Again, one account is not equally one holder, but it is interesting to take a look at the trend here. And the trend, as you can see here, is still positive for Aerodrome. So 2 thumbs up for that. Taking a look at the TVL here for Aerodrome, also very, very positive, especially despite the fact here that many altcoins got absolutely wrecked, guys. Many ecosystems are absolutely dead here. Okay, people are not using it. Aerodrome still rocking over $500 million in TVL. And as you can see here from the top here, the top was around $800 million of TVL, not the worst spot to be in. People are still using Aerodrome, the ecosystem is still working as intended, and people are simply earning yield on the position and making the passive income despite of the price action that the entire crypto market is in. So this is also a positive here for Aerodrome, still rocking over $500 million in TVL. Very, very good sign. Of course, we have to take a look at if this trend here, this downtrend is continuing, because as you can see here, we are creating those lower highs here. We have to see here if we can break this downtrend or if this downtrend is still intact until the next year, believe it or not. I will cover that shortly here. Now, of course, taking a look at the ecosystem, the base ecosystem itself, again, nothing has changed. Aerodrome still at place number 1, followed by Uniswap. Again, if you're bullish on the base ecosystem, Aerodrome is the number 1 pick, hands down. Okay, nothing has changed in the short term, and also in the long term, I think Aerodrome will keep that place. So overall trend for Aerodrome, people are using Aerodrome and the ecosystem as intended. The TVL is actually still at super impressive levels, despite, guys, the fact that Aerodrome is still very inflationary. We still have buyers stepping in, and the price is actually holding up better than most altcoins. And as you can see here, the TVL is still at healthy levels, still being the number 1 for the base ecosystem. So nothing has changed on the fundamental level. And this is one of the most important things you need to take a look at, especially if you hold, of course, the Aero token. All right, take a look at the price action here. We have to cover where Aerodrome is heading here in the short term and where Aerodrome headed here in the last recent months. Long story short, guys, despite the fact that Aerodrome price action is holding up pretty well, the truth is, unfortunately, since the top here, since this short-term peak mania phase for altcoins, Aerodrome is still down over 70%, guys. This is reality here. This is undeniable. And one very important thing to notice here is, guys, we are substantially here underneath the bull market support band. So long story short, we are currently in a short bearish phase, guys. Undeniably, the price action speaks for it, over 70% correction, and we are beneath the bull market support band. Those are undeniable facts. Doesn't matter if you like Aerodrome, if you don't like Aerodrome, those are just simply facts, and we have to see if we can push back up here above the bull market support band, or if this takes longer than most people expect. And of course, I will cover that shortly in my personal opinion here. Now, taking a look at the positive note here, again, from the bottom, unlike other altcoins, we're at least up still 40% here. Most altcoins are absolutely wrecked, are at the lows, are nowhere close here to being up 40%. So Aerodrome, despite being highly inflationary, still up over 30% here, especially if you bought this massive fear dip here. And as you can see here, those massive dips here are usually opportunities to load up on conviction plays, and Aerodrome for sure is a long-term blue chip play. Again, the big picture is we're down heavily, guys, since the top, and we're currently in a short-term bearish trend here. We have to see when we can finally break out of it. Is it a matter of a couple weeks, or will this take a couple months here and finally resolve next year? So let's cover that. Covering the bad guys, and this is where my theory comes into play. I have to remind you guys in the disclaimer here, nobody knows for sure where the price action is heading here in the short term. Those are just simply speculations, and this is my personal opinion here, and I can be completely wrong here. And of course the price can recover with one bullish huge sentiment change. Prices can recover within weeks here. So take this with a grain of salt, and this is just one possibility here where we might be heading here in the midterm. Taking a look at that, I want to show you is more and more looking similar to the 2019 cycle here. As you can see, we have this initial run up, initial mania phase here, and then we have this local top. We fade into the post-halving year, have a mass capitulation, depending of course if there's a recession or not. Keep in mind this was a pandemic here, so of course this does not have to repeat. And then post-halving year is usually when the fun begins. Comparing it to this cycle here, similar setup here. We have this run up here, this ETF run up, where the ETFs were finally launched, money flow was positive, we had this local top, and then we slowly are fading here beneath the bull market support band. And we can even dip lower here into the end of the year. And then I expect most probably here the real parabolic and especially the altcoin season phase to start next year. Keep in mind this is only one theory, but rate cut wise it makes sense here as 2019, as you can see here, during the rate cuts here, prices actually move down, guys. Okay, most people think during rate cuts prices move up. Usually you have to buy the last rate cut, and especially during the time where the money printer is back on. Keep in mind, rate cuts are not the same thing as quantitative easing. While it is definitely a correlation, you have to keep in mind when the money printer is back on. So the money supply increasing is usually the time here around the last rate cut where prices finally bottom, and then we'll see an uptick. As you can see here, we can run up here to the first rate cut. So I'm not saying we cannot have a relief bounce here. It is definitely possible, but usually rate cuts are short-term tops here for Bitcoin or for crypto assets. We'll have to see if this plays out. Currently, I'm personally betting on it. And of course, I can be completely wrong here. And I personally can honestly get absolutely wrecked here, especially during the most important time here of this market cycle. The best thing to do is, if you have the nerves to it, if you can hold your position, the best thing to do is to just simply hold your position, hold it through all this volatility. Even if we dip lower here 30%, if you are willing to accept your portfolio, to see your portfolio at this kind of valuations, then you most probably are going to be fine. For me personally, guys, I hit a certain level here where I don't want to see my portfolio bleeding even heavier, and this is why I'm protecting myself, and I will show you what I'm doing right now. Right, why I'm currently actually all in cash, and of course why this might be a mistake here. We will see that in the short term. I'm currently in cash right now, guys, just because of a pretty simple reason. I want to protect my capital. Currently, things are very unclear. While things, of course, in the short term, especially after this bounce, are looking bullish. And while I am bullish on Aerodrome here, especially for the long term, no question about that. And I still expect Aerodrome to hit those high valuations. Currently, guys, in my personal life here, I'm having a lot of stress and I cannot deal with those kind of fluctuations. I've been in multiple cycles. Currently, my portfolio value is at the level here where things are serious here. Keep in mind, if your portfolio is at the level where you can save up the money you've lost, then most probably psychologically, it's not going to affect you. Once your portfolio reaches an amount for your personal finance situation where it's impossible, almost impossible for you to save up this amount of money in a couple months, then things are different here, in my personal opinion. And this is why I'm currently just am in cash. I want to protect my capital. I expect lower prices here in the short term, actually in the next couple months. And of course, once we hit those levels, I will rebuy into my projects, and I still expect the mania phase to be ahead of us. So don't get it twisted. I'm still mega bullish on Aerodrome. I can be completely wrong, guys. Keep that in mind. This is only full transparency here. I was debating here if I should announce this in this video or not. Currently, I'm in cash and I'm just simply waiting here. Why is that? Again, I want safety. I want safety, just peace of mind here. I want to sleep at night. And of course, if we dip lower, I will have a huge trade on my hands here where I can increase my position size just by simply saving my cash position here and buying lower. Again, super risky. I'm not saying you should do that. The best thing to do right now, again, in my personal opinion, if I was able to do it personally, have a cash position and have your crypto position still in place. Hold your crypto position and hold your cash position. If we hit lower levels, just simply accumulate more of your tokens, just like Aerodrome. Keep in mind, guys, you have to know what you're doing for yourself. Again, I cannot do that decision for you. I don't know where your portfolio is at. I don't know where personal finance position is at. I don't know where you are in life. And this is why it's a personal position and personal decision here that I'm currently am in cash. Hopefully not getting wrecked here in the next couple months. Again, we can have relief bounces here. No question about that. But especially here towards the end of the year, I expect low prices here, believe it or not. At the end of the day, guys, if you are holding your Aerodrome, one of the most important things still to do is make use of your Aerodrome. Again, seamless protocol is my recommendation. Still, this is fluctuating here, but as you can see, still over $1 million in TVL of Aerodrome here in this pool, and you get roughly 30% API plus seamless token on top. Super, super attractive. Holding your position until this mania phase arrives, and we'll have to see. Am I wrong here with my decision? Maybe I will just simply buy back higher, or am I right here and I was slowly fading here until the end of the year. We'll see how that goes. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about this position? At the end of the day, guys, the most important thing is be bullish on yourself. That yields the most returns. Do your own research. Super, super important. Again, everybody can be wrong. Don't trust just only one source, especially mine. And the most important thing is, as always, don't get wrecked.
God-given, not from blue tops like Mars Simpson, just hard discipline, pot simmering, cooking up, no rocks in the pan, watching the plan form in the sand, bidding castles out of thoughts in our head, late nights, no sleep in my bed, trying to see my dreams manifest. Look at that, now look at that, we nice. Put the past on